Welcome students. This is the second session on probability. So we'll continue with the problems. So see more problems on balls. 10 distinguishable balls, as you can see, 10 distinguishable balls are distributed at random into 4 boxes. Okay, so what is the random experiment here? The 10 distinguishable balls is to be distributed into 4 boxes. How many ways this can be done? So total number of possible outcomes for this random experiment we can find out, that is 4 to the power 10, because if you consider the first ball, it can be put in any one of the boxes, so there are 4 ways. For the second ball, again there are 4 ways we can put in any one of the box, and in this way for the 10 it will be 4 to the power 10. Okay, now what is the event for which you have to find out the probability? The first problem, if we see, it is that what is the probability that a specified box contains exactly 2 balls. Okay, a specified box contains exactly 2 balls. So what we can do, we just put 2 balls in a particular box. Okay, so out of these 4 box, you put 2 balls in a box. So how many ways 2 balls can be selected from the 10 distinguishable balls? Definitely that can be done in 10C2 ways. Okay, so we have first selected 2 balls and we put into the box. So now this box will contain nothing else other than those 2 balls. So now what is the problem? Now the problem is there are 8 balls remaining and there are 3 boxes remaining that is to be filled in any ways. So how many different ways we can fill 8 distinguishable balls into 3 boxes? That you know can be done in 3 to the power 8 ways. Okay, so this is what is the favorable outcome corresponding to this event. So the probability will be this one for question number 1. Okay, now come to the question number 2. In question number 2, again the problem is what is the probability that these boxes contain respectively 2, 4, 4, 0 balls. Okay, to solve this part, again the random experiment remains the same, that is there are 10 distinguishable balls, remember 10 distinguishable balls, and there are 4 boxes. So total number of possible outcomes is 4 to the power 10. Now what are the favorable outcomes for this? There will be 2, 4, 4, 0 balls. Okay, since the balls are distinguishable, so what we can consider that suppose these are 4 boxes and it is known that there will be distribution in this way, but the balls are distinct balls, different balls. So 10 balls can be arranged. You just consider all possible arrangement by which the 10 balls can be arranged. Definitely in 10 factorial ways they can be arranged in all orders. But when you are putting these balls into boxes, suppose 2 balls you put in one box, then those 2 balls, whatever be the order, it will remain the same. Or the 4 balls that you put in a particular box, that selection is immaterial, that how these 4 balls are arranged among themselves. So this 2 factorial, these arrangements you have to divide, or these 4 are like similar, so its arrangements are to be divided, and this 4 factorial has to be divided. Okay, so this is what is the favorable outcome corresponding to question number 2. Okay, so total is 4 to the power 10 will be in denominator, and numerator it will be 10 factorial divided by 2 factorial into 4 factorial into 4 factorial. So this will be the answer for the second part. Now coming to the third part of the problem. Now what is the probability that these boxes contain respectively, okay, this part we have done. Now the third part is, if the 10 balls were identical in the problem, then what was the probability that these boxes contain respectively 2, 4, 4, 0 balls, and other questions for this particular case. Okay, let us select this problem and go to a new page, and let's make it small. Okay, so here you see the 10 balls are identical. Now it is identical balls. Okay, So 10 identical balls, how many ways those can be put into 4 boxes? So we know the 4 boxes they can be put in. Since the balls are identical, you just consider that each box will contain A, B, C and D, this number of balls, and that sum will be 10. So this problem already we know that all possible solutions are A, B, C, D. If we want to find out A, B, C, D may be 0. Okay, so considering all the possible outcomes, we know how many ways that can be done. So 10 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So 10 plus 4 minus 1, C 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1. How this is coming, that we have discussed in the permutation combination section. So you can go back to that video if you do not remember. Anyway, so this one is what is 13C3 is the total possible outcomes. Okay, so that will be in the denominator for all these cases. Okay, because all these cases the random experiment is 10 balls, identical balls are to be distributed into 4 boxes. Now coming to the first problem, or the first event. What is the first event? First event is that these boxes will contain respectively 2, 4, 4, 0 balls. See, this is basically a specific solution of ABCD, right? Among all these solutions, 2, 4, 4, 0 is a particular solution. So only one way this can be done. So the probability is going to be 1 by 13C3. 13C3. Okay, so this will be the answer for the A part. Now what about the B part? That each box will contain 2 balls, at least 2 balls. Okay, so each box will contain at least 2 balls. So to solve this part, what we can do, we just assign 2 balls in each of the boxes. If we assign 2 balls in each of the boxes, then how many will remain? You can write then A prime, B prime, C prime and D prime. That will be equal to 10 minus 4 into 2, that is 8. So 10 minus 8 is 2. So now what are the different possible values of A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime possible? And that you can easily find out, that is 2 plus 4, that is 6. 2 plus 4, that is 6, minus 1, C 4 minus 1. So this is the favorable cases corresponding to this event. So what will be the probability? Probability will be these favorable cases basically 5C3. So probability will be 5C3 by 13C3. Okay, so for the second case the answer will be 5C3 divided by 13C3. Okay, now coming to the last part of the problem, that no box is empty. Now no box is empty, this can be possible if at least one ball will be assigned to each of the boxes. So instead of 2, basically what you have to do, you just consider 1. Just put 1 in each of the boxes. So if you do that, then what will be A prime plus B prime plus C prime plus D prime? And that will be 10 minus 4, that is 6. Right? So what will be the favorable cases? The favorable cases is going to be 6 plus 4 minus 1, C 4 minus 1. So answer for the last part of the problem is 9C3 and divided by the total number of outcome, which is 13C3. Okay. Now coming to the next problem. So this is a problem of derangement, and derangement problem are like this, that consider this problem, that 5 different letters are put inside 5 addressed envelopes by an illiterate servant. So what is the probability that only 2 letters are placed in the correct envelopes? And the second part, you have to find out the no letter was in the correct envelope. Okay, so let us first find out what is the random experiment. The random experiment is there are 5 different letters and 5 different addressed envelopes. So how many different ways one can put these 5 letters into 5 different addressed envelopes? That is very simple, simply 5 factorial ways. Okay, so this is what is the total number of outcomes of this random experiment, that 5 different letters are to put into 5 addressed envelopes. Now second, find out what is the event that for which you have to find out the probability. The event is only 2 letters are placed in the correct envelope. So what is the favorable cases corresponding to this? Only 2 letters are placed in the correct envelope. Okay, so how many ways these 2 letters can be selected from the 5 letters? That can be selected in 5 C2 ways. Okay, so after selecting these 2 letters, you put into the correct envelopes. Now the remaining 3 letters has to be incorrect and has to go into the incorrect envelopes. So how many ways the 3 letters go into incorrect envelopes? That can be found out using the formula, you know, that n factorial into 1 by 2 factorial. Starting from 1 by 2 factorial, you have to write how many letters will mismatch. So up to that with alternative plus minus. So minus, here we have to go up to 3 factorial. Okay, so if you simplify, it is simply 3 factorial is nothing but 6, and this is half. Okay, so 3 minus 1, that is 2. So 2 by 3 6, here it is also 6, 6 will cancel, so this is 2. Okay, so 2 is the favorable outcome. So what will be the probability for the first part? The probability will be, since 5 factorial is the total number of outcome, so that will be there in the denominator. 5 factorial is 120, and in the numerator it will be 5C2 into the other 3 will mismatch in 2 ways. So the answer you can find out simply from here. Okay, so now come to the last part of the problem, where the question is you have to find out no letter was in the correct envelope. If no letter was correct envelope, what are the favorable outcomes? No letter in the correct envelope means that you have to start, that means 5 are in a wrong envelope. So 5 factorial, and from 1 by 2 factorial you have to write up to 5 factorial with alternative plus minus. Okay, so 1 by 2 minus 1 by 3 plus 1 by 4 factorial and minus 1 by 5 factorial. Okay, if you simplify, then this 5 factorial will cancel with the 5 factorial. So 5 factorial 120 into this one LCM is 120, and 2 120, that is 60, 6 120, that is 20, 24 120, that is 5, and 5 120 120, that is 1. Okay, so this 120 will cancel, and 60 minus 20 is 40, 45 minus 1, so 44. So 44 is the favorable case corresponding to the last problem. So if 44 is the favorable cases, then what is the probability? The probability will be 44 divided by total number of outcome, which is 5 factorial 120. Okay, so now if you just reduce it, you will get the answer 11 by 30. Okay, now coming to this problem, what is the probability that all 3 children in a family have different birthdays? Okay, so what are the total number of possible situations that 3 children may have birthday? The first children may have birthday in one of the 365 days. Second children may also have birthdays in any one of the 365 days, and the third children may have birthdays in any one of the 365 days. Now for the case event that is given, that they will have different birthdays. This is what is the event for different birthdays. If we can consider the first child may have birthday any one of the 365, so the second child cannot be of that birthday, so it has to be from other 364 days. And for the third child, the 2 days already occupied, for different birthdays it has to be some other from other 363 days. So this is what is the probability for this question, and if you simplify, it will be 0.992. Now consider this problem. What is the probability that a leap year selected at random will contain 53 Sundays? Okay, in a year we know always there are 52 weeks. Okay, so 52 into 7, 52 weeks are there, so basically 364 days are always there, and along with that, in case of a leap year, 2 days extra, because in a leap year you know the total number of days is 360. So in a leap year basically 2 days extra other than this 52 complete week. Okay, so in a 52 complete week means already 52 Sundays are there. Now this last 2 days, in these last 2 days, if any one of the Sunday, if one Sunday is there, then it will become 53 Sundays, right? So these 2 days can be of different ways. So what is the sample space, or what is the total possible outcomes if we try to write all of them? So the 2 days can be Sunday and Monday. The 2 days can be Monday and Tuesday. Remember, they should be consecutive. Then it can be Tuesday and Wednesday, or Wednesday and Thursday, Thursday and Friday, Friday and Saturday, Saturday and Sunday. So these are the possible outcomes. Okay, so what are the total number of possible outcome? If you count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7 is the total number of possible outcomes. But what is the question? It will contain 53 Sundays. So out of this element, one Sunday has to be there, and that is there either in this outcome or in this outcome. So what is the favorable cases for this one? That is 2. So the answer is 2 by 7. Now let us consider this problem. The probability that A can solve a problem is 2 by 5, B can solve it is 2/3, and C can solve it is 3 by 7. If all of them try independently, find the probability that the problem will be solved. Okay, so you see the problem can be solved in this way, that A will be able to solve the problem, but B will not be able to solve the problem. That means the a complementary event of B, if we consider B is the event which is at B can solve the problem, then B complement is the event that B will not be able to solve the problem. And if you consider C will not be able to solve the problem. So in this situation, if all of these happens together, that means A will be able to solve the problem, but B will not be able to solve the problem, and C will not be able to solve the problem, then the problem will be solved. Or the problem can be solved in this way, you see, that A will not be able to solve the problem, but B will be able to solve the problem, but C will not be able to solve the problem. Or problem may be solved that A will be able to solve the problem, B will also able to solve the problem, but C will not be able to solve the problem. Or all of them will be able to solve the problem. Or there may be many other cases, because all different combinations will give the answer. So problem can be solved. This can happen in many of these ways. Okay, so what you have to do, you have to find out the probability of each of these cases, and you have to sum them up to get what is the probability that the problem will be solved. Okay, so this is one of the approach. And how can we do that? You can see that intersection, since A, B, C, these are all independent event, that means whether if A can solve a problem, that is no way related to that B will be able to solve the problem. Okay, so they are independent events, and for independent event, you know, the intersection can be written as the product of their probabilities. So this can be written that probability of A into probability of B complement into probability of C complement in this way, and you can find out actually, but this will be a very laborious method, right? So what we can do is that instead of doing this, that problem will be solved, let us consider the event that just the complementary event of the event that is given, that the problem will be solved. What is the complementary event to that? If this event is say X, that the problem will be solved, let us consider the event that the problem will not be solved. Problem will not be solved. Problem not be solved. So this is basically the complementary event of the actual problem in the question. So this we can easily find out, because X bar can happen only in one way. And what is that way? That A will not be able to solve the problem, B will not be able to solve the problem, and C will not be able to solve the problem. Okay, so to find out the probability of this event, you just find out this probability, and since they are complementary, so this will be the product of their probability. Okay, so this is the basic idea to find out the probability of this complementary event. So what will be that? That is very simple, that A will not be able to solve the problem. That can happen in 3 by 5 ways. B will not be able to solve the problem. That can happen in 1 by 3 ways. And C will not be able to solve the problem. Can happen in 4 by 7 ways. So that is basically the probability of X complement. So what will be the probability of X that the problem will be solved? Simply you subtract this quantity from 1 and you will get the probability that the problem will be solved. Okay, so this will be the answer. Now coming to the next problem. The probability that a teacher will give a surprise test during any class is 1 by 5. Okay, so if a student is absent on 2 days, find what is the probability that he will miss at least one test. Okay, so you have to find out that if a student misses 2 days, consider this is 1 day and say this is another day, and if he misses at least one of the test, you have to find out the probability of that. Okay, so what we can do is that again, since at least one test it is given, let us consider he will miss at least one test. This is what is the event for which you have to find out the probability. Let us consider this event is X, and let us consider just the complementary event, that he will not miss the test, right? What is the complementary event of this? That he will not miss the test. He will not miss any test. Okay, so this is what is the complementary event, that he will not miss any test. If we can find out X bar, simply we subtract it from 1 and we can find out what is the probability of X. So how can this be possible that he will not miss any test? It is only possible if the teacher do not take test on those days, right? So what is the probability that teacher will not take test on day 1? So that probability is 4 by 5, because the probability of taking a test is 1 by 5. So probability of not taking a test is 4 by 5. Okay, so what is the probability that in a second day also he is not going to take the test? Again, that is 4 by 5. And we will multiply. Why we are going to multiply? Because these are independent events. So basically we are finding out, suppose A that and B, these are the events corresponding that on the day 1 the test will not be taken, day 2 the test is not going to taken, that is B. So both has to be happened, that A and B intersection. So we are basically finding out this quantity. So that is according to, for independent events, the probability of A into probability of B, where what is A? A is on day 1 test is not taken. What is B? On day 2 test is not taken. So in this way, if we consider A and B, so this is the way by which we can calculate what is the probability of X bar. So we have found out what is X bar. So if you know what is X bar, so what is the actual answer of the question will be simply you subtract this quantity from 1. So 1 minus 16 by 25 will be the answer, that is 9 by 25. Okay, now coming to this problem, there are 3 lots contain respectively 10%, 20% and 25% defective articles. One article is drawn at random from each lot. What is the probability that among them there is exactly one defective? Okay, so there are 3 lot. Suppose this is lot 1, this is lot 2 and this is lot 3. So there are 3 lots. Now what is done? One product is taken from lot 1, one product is taken from lot 2 and one product is taken from lot 3. So 3 products actually taken out, and it is observed that exactly one is defective, and you have to find out the probability that exactly one is defective. It is not that all of them are defective, exactly one of the defective. What is the probability of that? Now that defective item can be from lot 1, or it can be from lot 2, or it can be from lot 3. So you have to add all these possible cases. That means in how many ways the product that one particular product will be defective. So this can happen if it is coming from lot 1. If it is coming from lot 1, let us consider, then since 10% is defective if it is coming from lot 1, so what is that? So 10%. So 10% means let us write 0.1, that is 10% defective. So consider that this is a case where the sample that is taken from lot 1 is defective, but the sample that is taken from lot 2 is not defective. That means what is the probability that the sample taken from the lot 2 will not be defective? That is 80%, right? So 0.8. What is the probability that which is coming from lot 3 is not defective? That is 0.75. So this is one of the case that in which that one item will be defective, or it can be which is the sample that is coming from lot 1 is not defective. The probability is 0.9. The sample that is coming from lot 2, maybe that is defective. Say that probability is 0.2, and the sample which is coming from lot 3, that is also not defective. So in this way also it is possible that only one is defective. Or there may be another case where the sample coming from lot 1 is not defective, sample coming from lot 2 is not defective, but the sample coming from lot 3, that is defective. So this is the only possible cases in which a defective item, exactly one defective item can come. Okay, so if you add them up, you will get the probability of the first event. Okay, so this is the answer of the probability of the first problem, if we consider this event is x. Okay, now here also basically why we have simply multiplied these probabilities, because we have considered all these events are independent, and that is why their intersection, that means these things are happening, are independent. So intersections become multiplied when we calculate the probabilities. Now consider the last problem, at least one is defective. Okay, to find out at least one is defective, again this at least term is when there, it is better you consider the find the probability of the complementary event. So at least one of the one is defective. If we consider this particular event as y, then what is y bar? The y bar is there will be no defective. There will be no defective. Okay, so let us find out what is the probability of there will be no defective. No defective can only possible that the sample coming from lot 1 is not defective. That means that probability is 90%. At the same time, when the sample is coming from the second lot is also not defective, and which is coming from third lot is also not defective. So this is what is the probability of y bar. Okay, so if you know what is this probability, simply what is the probability of y? So probability of y will be equal to, you just subtract this probability of y bar from 1. Okay, so in this way you can find out the probability of at least one defective. Okay, now see this problem. In a bolt factory, the machines M1, M2, M3 manufacture respectively 25, 35 and 45% of total product. Okay, so of their output, it is known that 5%, 4% and 2% respectively are defective bolts. Okay, so one bolt is drawn at random from the product and is found to be defective. Okay, so what is the probability that it was manufactured by the machine M3? Okay, So here again we have to use the Bayes theorem. So if you consider say B1 is basically what is the chance that the sample that you have drawn finally at random will be manufactured, has been manufactured by machine 1. So that is what is B1. So the product is manufactured by machine 1. What is B2? The B2 event is the product that has been drawn may be manufactured by machine 2. This is event 2. What is event 3? Event 3, let us define that the sample that was drawn was manufactured by machine 3. So, and these probabilities already you know, because in the whole lot the contribution from machine 1 is 25%. So probability of B1 is 25%, probability of B2, probability of B3 are respectively 35 and 45%. Okay. Now let us consider an event A, where this event is defined as the bolt that is drawn at random is found to be defective. So A event, we are defining it that a defective item is drawn. A defective item is drawn. Okay. So this is what is this event A. So let us first find out what is the probability of A. So probability of A, how come the defective item, how defective item will come, this defective item may come from the machine 1 or machine 2 or machine 3. So if we consider that the bolt that we are drawing finally, that may come from machine 1, what is the probability that it will come from machine 1? That probability is 25%. Okay, so that probability is 25% that it will come from machine 1. Now if it is coming from machine 1, then what is the probability that it is defective? And that probability, you know, is 5%. So that probability is 5%. Okay, so in this way that particular item may be defective, or it can happen in other ways. What are the other ways? That maybe the sample bolt that you have drawn, maybe it is coming from machine 2. So what is the probability that it is coming from machine 2? That probability is 35%. Why? Because 35% of the product is contributed by machine 2. Now if it is coming from machine 2, then what is the probability that it will be defective? And that probability is 0.04, because it is 4% defective, producing 4% defective item, machine 2. And or in other case, that particular sample may be coming from machine 3, and that can happen in 0.40. In that way, if that sample came from the machine 3, then what is the defective? Because the defective item produced by machine 3 is 2%. So that item may be defective in this way. So if you calculate this sum, then you will get that total PA. Now the question is that the defective item that has been observed, what is the probability that it is coming from machine 3? So you have to find out this probability, that probability of the product is found to be a product is coming from machine 3. The defective item is coming from machine 3. That probability you have to find out, but it is known that that product is a defective item. That product is a defective item. So this probability basically you have to find out. Okay, so now we use the Bayes theorem that this quantity is what? That the total probability PA, that means this summation result, that is say PA, and in the numerator what we write? The contribution from the machine 3, because you have to find out what is the probability that that bolt is came from machine 3. So what is the here? This is the contribution from machine 1. Sorry, and here this is the contribution from machine 2, and this one is the contribution from machine 3, right? So you have to write this contribution which is from machine 3. What is that? That is 0.4 multiplied by 0.02. So if you do this calculation, you will get the probability of that defective product is coming from machine 3. So this will be the answer. Okay, thank you.